And we are live. Hi guys. Today we have a wonderful discussion. By the way, could you switch on your microphones, Viktor, Nick?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you so much. Today we have a wonderful discussion about self-sovereign identity as a future of networks, the fintech industry itself. So I have brilliant experts. Viktor Radchenko, CTO and Nick Mason, so CEO of the project. And what we have for today, we have very broad understanding of what the self-sovereign identity is all about, why we need it, like as a fintech, I mean, like neobanking, and why we need that as a, let's say, major crypto players like crypto exchanges and DEX platforms, etc. So today we will try to clarify everything related to that topic, and also try to understand how we as Elmas land could work together and create that network state, maybe network state of preparedness, with the help of your product. So let's start with Nick. And Nick, could you help me understand what's your background and how you came up to the idea to, let's say, actually revolutionize the self-sovereign identity market and create a unique platform?
Thanks, Aaron. It's great to be here, and for everyone who's watching, it's a pleasure to be in front of you today. So my name is Nick Mason. I have a background mostly in social entrepreneurship, so I've started and grown social ventures focused on primarily education in sub-Saharan Africa, and also then, corporate-facing ESG consultancies in London, all very dry stuff. But I during the course of the work in sub-Saharan Africa, I discovered the need for digital identity for marginalized communities, in particular rural smallholder farming communities, and recognized the opportunity to connect those individuals to digital services using a decentralized identity. The most important part of it being something that they can carry around, hold, and represent personal data with without being dependent on any single entity. So that's a really useful thing when you're highly mobile, moving across borders a lot, accessing lots of different services for lots of different reasons. And that has evolved and blossomed into the platform that is now Proofspace. And we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing now and why, I suppose, later in the interview.
Wonderful. So the question is regarding that unique African background. As I know, right now, Nigeria, one of the major crypto markets for Binance, and I know a lot of that market. It's a huge market, but could you explain more how the problems, local problems of African market, maybe crypto market, let's say, drive you to create Proofspace, just to understand where it's coming from? Because let's be clear and honest. We, as a, let's say, as a European community, European society, having a lot of let's say different types of authentication in fintech world. For example, I could authenticate with my ID card, with my bank ID, whatever. I have so many opportunities being part of that financial world easily in one click through existing verified credible let's say ID providers. But what about the African market? How the African market, let's say, shape your, let's say, vision, and how that unique vision drive you to something that could do more than everything that I just mentioned?
It's a really good framing to think about some of the reputation aspects that we're thinking about with Proofspace. So if you don't have if you don't have an identity that you can easily use to verify who you are online, and that's not easily convertible to a digital format and verifiable through artificial intelligence and so on, we think that it's also helpful to be able to build a portfolio of credentials that can represent to who you are in an atypical way. So perhaps there's your employment record, your education record, your record of payments with a local farming input supplier. the record of payments that you've made for your children's school fees. All of these things are attestations as to the quality of your character and your reliability. And those are things that could be used to make decisions in the Web3 world, whether it's as a DeFi or a crypto lender, perhaps. And you want to know whether someone's going to default on their payments. Why don't you use a series of verifiable credentials to attest to their reputation?
Wonderful. So as I understand, you could, let's say, somehow improve the scoring algorithms of, let's say, neobanking or even, let's say, crypto exchanges willing to provide some lending opportunities and other type of opportunities. What's the main driver of, let's say, financial value of your product for, let's say, biggest players on the market?
So yeah, there's a few angles to this. I think the first is that if you compare the verifiable credential as a cost as opposed to a authenticated identity document credential, the cost differential between those two is significant, and that's for two reasons. Firstly, you don't need sophisticated and rather expensive artificial intelligence algorithms to verify a verifiable credential, which means the actual cost of the first verification is rather a lot lower. If you have that credential, then the ongoing reusability of the credential means that you have an effect on the long-term cost of that credential, which is far lower. So you're incrementally reducing the cost of a single credential. So yeah, that's one handy thing for authentication purposes. But I think it goes a lot further when it comes to thinking about the reputation angle that you mentioned. And it might be good to cue Viktor in here to share some of his vision on the reputation credentials and how it links to Proofspace's work.
Yes, the reputation element is very important, and we already discussed that with Viktor before, the danger of that decentralized reputation and the importance to done it properly. So I'm willing you to focus on that topic, because we're not willing to create that digital prison for all ourselves with the help of the beautiful algorithms and beautiful lines of code. We are building the freedom land, not a land of, let's say, some sort of China Communist Party digital freedom destroying space. So help me with that, Viktor, because that's the most important topic for me and for you in that field.
Sure. So first of all, let's step back and understand how SSI appeared. It's a logical evolution of the identity, and it came from centralized identity, as we all know. When you enter your email and password to the site, and this information belongs to the site, you can't reuse it. Site may collect other related information about you and use it as they wish. Second step is federated identity, and we all use it like when you can authorize with Google or with Facebook to another site. So the site call the Facebook, and this event is trackable by the Facebook. So or Google, they know who authorized where and when. And the decentralized identity is an idea that credentials should belong to the user, and user should be the one holder of the credentials, and then other services should ask user to share something, some information from that credentials with them, so they can identify a user or authorize user to their service. And this is the idea that lays under the SSI concept. SSI, self-sovereign identity, I think, comes from the self-ownership principles that state that your body, the result of your non-aggressive human activity, your work, belongs to you. And in the modern digital world, all your actions, all your like facts about you also form your identity, which obviously should be your private property. So SSI, along with cryptocurrencies, tokens, smart contracts, plays a huge role in the decentralized paradigm and provide a trust layer for all the things. It's interesting that SSI works off-chain, so there should be no information like personal information stored in the blockchain. At the same moment, cryptography allows people to communicate, services to communicate with each other peer-to-peer, off-chain, and provide a distrust layer for the services. So this is like in basic what is SSI and what is it for.
I will be laser focused on real life cases. For example, I have, let's say, experience working as CEO of a big crypto exchange, and also I have a lot of neobanks in my surroundings. Let's say, I know that case of, let's say, the case of integration of different KYC providers like Verif on Fido and other big guys. I don't recall that Israeli startup. SumSub, yes, SumSub, very popular right now. So it's very transactional from let's say our perspective. No matter is it a crypto exchange or it's neobank, but I guess it's one of your first biggest clients, the type of clients I just mentioned. So could you just explain how easy to implement your product or any other product of providing self-sovereign identity services? Why actually we need to integrate it? I mean, from the neobank or crypto exchange perspective, and what's the profit? What is it by the end of the day? What is it by the end? Is it for what's the bottom line of that activity for, let's say, neobank or crypto exchange?
Right. So let's start from the value, right? So the value could lay in the area that you may interact with your users seamlessly. You don't need to build something extra to ask user to provide a credential, to verify it, to issue credential back. You may rely on the credentials that are issued by your partners, and they have a seamless way to integrate with the solution as well. So they can issue something to the user. You may trust that parties and ask user to provide that credentials in a different way, like selective disclosure when user will share just a piece of credential, or even the raw knowledge way when user may prove something about himself or herself without revealing the actual values. So first, you are getting the new space of this trust, which can be easily spread among the parties that can form ecosystem around you, or you are a part of the ecosystem. This ecosystem may intersect, so that it's a way for users to migrate from one solution to another. So it's another user acquisition channel. You may monetize your credentials, because if you perform, let's say, a complex KYC process, then this process can be monetized by fees that verifiers that should not implement the same process and trust your service will pay you. So that's how it can work. And
as I guess, it's a brilliant way to create an ecosystem around, let's say, some sort of neobank or crypto exchange with a let's say big line of products. Or maybe sometimes JV, other people products. So, for example, we as a neobank just integrating your solution and then providing that authorization for our partners, which works under our umbrella inside our some sort of marketplace or whatever, and that's a beautiful let's say vehicle for, let's say, efficient scalability for let's say neobank marketplace ecosystem business model. I guess it's just one of the simplest solution we could use it. But let's talk about very painful stuff. Let's talk about the pain, the GDPR. It's not all. And the second very painful moment, it's also, let's say, licensing. Because if it's a crypto license, no matter where it is it Lithuanian crypto license, whatever, Estonian, I don't know, different other type of crypto license, we still need to store some sort of in some form all the data, all the information related to the user, and we could not use that. Is it some sort of segregated wisdom, or I don't know how to call it properly? What's your current understanding of being part of that big legal frameworks already existing on the market and framing, let's say, our business activity, like neobanks and let's say crypto exchanges?
So regarding GDPR, it's the solution as it's user-centric, and the user holds their own credentials, and there is different ways how the user can be identified, and these ways provide. We may do this without actually retrieving data from a user, if you don't need this data, right? So GDPR like needs you to implement the possibility to be forgotten for the user, but with SSI you may just not request this data, but verify that this user is real, that, for example, he or her has a passport, and this passport belongs to a particular country, but that's it. You don't need any other information. From one hand. From another hand, in the Proofspace, we have a way how the information that's received from a user and then being analyzed and issued, and as a result, user receive another credential to his or her wallet. Then this information can be erased, but the user still hold this credential that you may ask to provide and verify that it's your user or user that came from the trusted party. So that's the way how we work with the privacy. Regarding licensing, I believe that there can be kind of trusted parties that may hold the data, and they may issue the credential that that does not contain the user data, but you as a bank, for example, may rely on the trusted party and believe that this user came.
Yes, that's idea of custodian, of data custodian, private data custodian is very important, because let's say all of that paperwork around GDPR and also other things, let's say protecting user data, working with user data, putting a lot of pressure on business operation in new banking sphere, and also in crypto exchange market, because let's be honest, big banks, I mean, I mean really big banks, they have thousands of employees, and it's easy for them to, let's say, structure that activities. But when the neobank trying to, let's say, to penetrate the market, creates the bright future with a unique business model, they don't have big teams. They have just a couple KYC AML officers, so they call them compliance officers or whatever. But whatever, it's very, very heavy duty to make everything related to that GDPR, let's say, elements of business operation. So, but let's talk about the true beauty of your project, because for me it was like a miracle when I understand that you're actually maintaining all the business all the business activities inside your platform. So you're not like self-sovereign identity provider. You integrate different type of services inside your platform in a unique way, like a drag and drop, creating the unique everyone could create the unique structure of let's say working with ID verification and other things. So I don't know, it's a question for Nick or for Viktor, but could you show us a couple advanced cases to understand the beautiness and complexity of what you have done for the market with your, let's say, drag and drop, plug and play, let's say, solution?
Nick, would you?
I'll take this. And I just want to go back one step as well, just to think about the neobank crypto exchange and the market opportunity when it comes to self-sovereign identity. I think one of the things is there's the pure Web3 case where people don't want to rely on a central identity provider in order to have their identity authenticated and then used in traditional sectors. You know, it's more soft skills like that suite of credentials that I was telling you about earlier, where you can draw a picture of someone's reputation by building a picture of multiple credentials that you decide that you trust as a DAO, for example. There is, of course, this bridge between Web 2 and Web 3, which lots of neobanks and crypto exchanges and many other Web3 organizations are still having to deal with. And so that's where there is an opportunity to build ecosystems. And behind an ecosystem is a governance framework. And the really important thing about a governance framework is you can create a trust registry. So with trust registries, you can have a defined group of organizations who are admitted on the basis of some kind of voting oracle. And those organizations can issue credentials against a schema that all of the participants in that trust registry have agreed is correct. Now that is where you see a huge impact on the level of reusable KYC credentials. KYC credentials that are represented as tokens and perhaps then bound into crypto transactions as part of a verification engine. So you don't need to do two separate activities. You do the verification as a function of the transaction. You know, that's where you see the opportunity for the advantages that accrue to big banks through open banking systems, like what we've got in the UK. Yes. Accruing to smaller banking organizations that are more catering to the Web3 world. And I think that's where people need to start paying attention to SSI, because it is not only the opportunity to massively reduce operational costs and create a sense of community between those organizations, but it's also the way that we bridge between Web3 and Web2 with digital trust as the conduit between those two environments. Yes,
it's a very serious, it's a very important way to penetrate the mass market, brilliant way for mass adoption. But still, the question is, the market of KYC providers is very, very competitive. So it's just a couple of cents, like 5 cents, 10 cents per verification. Yes, we do realize that, let's say, every step of user journey, let's say, decrease our conversion rate. So we do realize that if we could, let's say, just verify the client with one click, it will improve our bottom line. It will add a lot of revenue to, let's say, all of our marketing activities. But still, the question is, as I understand, I would like to take one question from our live chat. By the way, we have 7,000 viewers right now. Just give me. Oh yes, we have 7,600 viewers currently. So I'm taking one of the questions from our live chat in YouTube. They're asking, staking, farming, NFTs, and metaverses have proven to be very good ways of attracting users and improving adoption. What are your thoughts and plans on these futures? By the way, it's very from my perspective. I will frame the beautiful question slightly higher. Most of that platforms, based on our expectation, like will will be liable to, let's say, take at least some sort of KYC process during their business operation based on, let's say, current understanding of, let's say, United States regulators or European regulators. So from my perspective right now, that type of cheap, let's say, native crypto crypto KYC process will play the major role in your business success as a project. So could you explain how your project could act in that field? I mean, metaverses, NFT marketplaces. What's your unique features just for that markets? Because it feels like those guys need a cheap, reusable, crypto native solution.
Okay, let me jump with. I will refer to your first question about how we come to the no-code platform. Actually, so there are many solutions on the market. There are many scientist groups that research different encryptions, different kinds of credentials, writing standards, running own solutions. Most of the solutions works through the SDKs. So like they are focusing on developers that may take it and integrate it into the existing infrastructure of the company, for example. And but when you start thinking about building ecosystems, you have to ask all the technical teams of all the parties to integrate the same SDKs, then integrated with their infrastructure, decide on what types of the credential they will use, decide on the schemas of the credential, and so on. And this becomes, I would not say that impossible, but it's quite complicated. And then you have to support all these things on all the sides. So we came to the solution that SSI should be easy. It should hide from a user all the complexity of how this works, DIDs, decentralized identifiers, schemas, interactions, encryption, verification, etc. So we provide an app which acts as a marketplace for the user, where a user may navigate through the services. And it's actually, we may say that it's internet of trust, and our app is a browser to the services to interact on the trust layer. And for the services, we have a dashboard where they can configure these different interactions, meaning the business logic under them, not a code, not like complex things. You may think of these interactions that are related to your business logic, and it's kind of Lego where you can build your own flow, publish it, and immediately other services in the network may see your public credential that you are issuing to the user, and they may ask user to provide these credentials even if they don't talk with you. So it's like a space of credentials and marketplace for the services to interact with the users. This gives us the way how we, so again, this is the way how to build ecosystem, because we have a easy no-code tools and the network with discovery and communication protocols that allows these things.
Yes. But if you funnel everything through your app, it's putting a lot of, let's say, responsibility on your side, first of all. Secondary, it feels like that that type funneling, let's say, somehow, let's say, provide the gateway for my, let's say, community to migrate to other competitive, let's say, solutions. So it feels like it's true. It's beautiful for the users. It's beautiful for, let's say, just regular guys, but it's feels like could destroy, let's say, retention rate, and also everything related to, let's say, maintaining hardly owned, hardly gathered paying audience, and that's the problem of funneling through that app. first of all, everything in your hands. Secondary, it feels like I could lost some of my business because the user easily migrate to a competitive product. So what's your opinion on that? It's two-way sword, by the way. Two sides.
All right. So the app works with SDKs that are open source. We provide own communication and navigation layer, which we develop, and we believe that standards should grow from the business cases. So we actively explore the real cases of using the SSI, and eventually will come to the open, well, I would not say standard, but open draft of the standard, which we want to publish and get the community to work further together. So regarding your second question, is that user may migrate. We are providing just a trust layer. Your business communication with your user, assuming trust, assuming credentials, but they pay you not for the credentials. They do business with your service, but it gives you much more freedom and flexibility to use credentials from other services, and this is a very important part of the on-chain reputation, because if we can count the verifiable interactions with different services on the user side, not on our side, we don't store this information, but user may collect own interactions with different services, and these interactions may represent his part of his reputation on chain. Like, I may prove that I am a real person, I'm not a bot, because I had like 20 interactions with 20 different services. This is one of the main issue with fully anonymous and on-chain reputation and how to be protected from the Sybil attack, right? So this is a source of verifying the real person under the.
By the way, let's focus right now on the crypto market itself. First of all, we have all the problems with the flippers. Secondary, we have a problem with trying to actually, let's say, narrow down our, let's say, communication to the guys actually making something in that field, for example. And it could be proof of, let's say, like high net worth individuals, like high net worth investors could prove themselves as a credible, let's say, site for advanced negotiation or any advanced opportunity, because some sort of opportunities should be disclosed, should be distributed only among the people who is actually ready to take it and actually have a wonderful track record working with that type of opportunities. Because yes, we have you know, in real world we have all of that ability to let's say to be like, let's say, officially like investor or high net worth individual, having all that, let's say, ability to communicate with very advanced financial products, but some sort of readiness where sometimes we are willing to have also in cryptosphere. So yes, it's a true beauty to give billions of people some unique opportunity, or millions of people, whatever. But sometimes some of opportunities are very tricky, and you need to be experienced to let's actually work with those opportunities. What do you think about that? What's your unique solution you could create for that type of, let's say, maybe it's for launch pads or any other investment vehicles existing on the market? What you could add to that type of services with your unique product?
So is the question relating to how we might be able to cater to easier investment experiences for high net worth individuals? Is that the kind of thing?
Yes. In cryptosphere, I mean.
Yeah.
cryptosphere.
Well, if you go through a crowdfunding platform as an investor, you get asked a series of questions that they believe results in you proving whether or not you're a sophisticated investor. You don't have to be a high net worth, and more often not, you don't have to be a sophisticated investor to get through those series of questions.
Yes.
Good. You know, the one really simple way is you ask a series of questions to an investor. The result of that question is that they get qualified as being a sophisticated investor, and then a dynamic QR code appears on the page, and they receive in return a verifiable credential attesting to their pass rate. It's okay. What would be better is if you could actually attest to a certain amount of ADA already existing on a Cardano wallet, for example.
Like previous transactions, or
right.
Previous interactions with other investment platforms.
Right.
Some things that actually proving that that man actually owning couple millions of dollars, and not investing like crazy, not let's say not a flipper, not doing strange stuff. He's successful as he is. He knows what he's doing. He's not, because you could. It's very important to give the right opportunity to the right people, because it's your reputation. Because a sophisticated investor could, let's say, take a huge amount of money out of that opportunity, but let's say the person who not understand what's going on will lost everything, and will say that you are not delivering, and that's the problem, and that's some sort of crypto hedge funds and other advanced crypto, let's say, vehicles, financial vehicles could be the future of our DeFi. But in that field, we need not just verification of let's say ID as a person, but we need that reputation to give people opportunity to operate in that fields.
So absolutely. I mean, this is a really interesting way of framing the technology, actually. So you can create a set of within a schema for what would qualify as a sophisticated investor. You could have a bunch of data attributes which are required to be filled in order for that person to be qualified. You can also have different tiers of investor. So let's say like high net worth, medium, low, and the investment amount that each individual is able to make in a particular opportunity is capped at a certain level. So you kind of architect responsibility into the investment platform by setting certain investment thresholds so that someone's not overly exposed given their investment status, but you prove their investment status through predicates on, for example, a certain number of historical transactions having been completed, or a certain amount of value being held in any single wallet at any one time. And those predicates can be configured really quickly and easily through the Proofspace platform. So you can have a custom front end for any given client, which sends and receives requests for verifiable credentials through the Proofspace backend, and the investor can firstly acquire their reputation by building up those interactions with different investment platforms and with perhaps even different investees that can attest to their quality as an investor, but also to actually submit that information in a way that they know preserves their privacy. So it can be done, using zero knowledge predicates even, but both the platform and the investor still have the confidence that the data is being managed correctly and that the outcome is one that's responsible and in the best interest of the market.
Yes, it's a huge topic because it's one of the main driver for let's say growing of DeFi. But the question is, let's simplify slightly our discussion. And the next question about the discussions. I mean, online discussions. Sometimes I'm actually willing to know that somebody, even anonymous, having some sort of background or having some sort of, let's say, I don't know, reputation or let's say expertise, and I don't want to know his real name. I don't want to know anything about him. I don't need his, let's say, persona, and let's say, but I want to communicate in all of that metaverses, Discord groups, whatever. I'm willing to talk with the people. Let's say, at least I'm willing to know his has more than 120 IQ, just for the beginning, just to be sure that I'm not communicating because it's painful, but it's a huge part of our digital life right now. And actually, the ability to create that, let's say, serious online discussions, it's a huge, it's a future of networking, because to have the decentralized, let's say, communities, but still having the valuable discussions and making some valuable interactions is impossible right now, because I don't know who's on the other side. Sometimes people revealing their names. Sometimes because I do realize, because of their status, they could not reveal their names. But sometimes I need both. I don't need their names, but I need to know that they are real and they made something in their life before putting that interesting ideas or whatever, because it is just our networks life, our network states should be built with the people with real skills and real great track record. But I don't need their personal data. I don't need their, let's say, mother name or whatever. I need just understand who they are. What do you think about that, guys? What do you think about that, the future of networking and discussions, online discussions?
That's interesting. There could be several ways to solve this. One is that you build a centralized platform for discussions, and people should onboard and provide information about them, even maybe with credentials, even maybe through the zero knowledge way. And then you collect this data, and this is the user profile, which is visible for everyone. Could work, but we are currently working on C2C interactions, means that you may meet someone through this platform, and then you may establish like private connection peer-to-peer, and you may ask user to provide kind of data or kind of information that you are interested in, or proof just that the IQ is not less than whatever you wish to to get. So this is another aspect, that this communication could be even C2C, so user to user directly. And yeah, so it depends on the case, but we may solve this as well.
Wonderful. So for Elmas Land as a community, as a future network state, thinking about to let's say frame all of the interactions inside our online world and our offline activities in unique way, and it feels like you're the best. I mean, in terms of creating that advanced, let's say, business processes to engineer all of the business processes, and let's say maintain our DAO. We could, let's say, discuss right now, let's say, the role of self-sovereign identity in a DAO, because it's a huge topic. It's it's truly important for us as a product, and it's truly important for the crypto industry itself, because the DAO needs self-sovereign identity in that maybe even segregated wisdom way, but that is very, very important. Who could take that question? Viktor, Nick? Could you explain more about the DAO, working with the DAO projects, and how your project, how your solution could, let's say, improve the business processes of DAO?
I just want to state some technical things, the important things, and then I'll pass to Nick, and Nick may tell about our current cases that we are working with, in particular with Catalyst community, Cardano Catalyst community. So currently we are working as well on the credential-based tokens and token-based credentials. This is a bridge between the off-chain SSI peer-to-peer communication between the users and services and users and an on-chain smart contracts, voting contracts, whatever it can be. So, and we are actively researching these things, and in the nearest, in a few months, I guess we'll have something to show how this may work. And this is in particular very important for the DAO, because DAO is based on as a decentralized organization operating through the smart contracts, through the tokens, through the crypto payments. And this is how SSI can be attached and power the DAO solution with a trust. So Nick, on this to you.
So it's a great question. We are doing an increasing amount of work with DAOs, and it's been a great experience for us because it's pushed our product and it's taught us to innovate, as Viktor was just describing, in a way that means that we can cater to more use cases in the DAO setting. I suppose at the top level, you can start by just using a really boring standard industry term for identity, which is called identity and access management. That's also relevant for DAOs. DAOs don't want to use federated identity models to manage the identity and access protocols for the varied memberships that they have around the world. So that's the first step where SSI comes in. Issue people verifiable credentials that attest the different roles that they hold within the community. Those roles can be determined based on the reputation that they have, which can also be acquired through verifiable credential interactions. So, the one great example is you've got a community of people who are responsible for reviewing work that is done by other members of the community, and those people need to be qualified in order to review the work that's being done. Mm-hmm. How do you know that they're qualified to do the work? Well, they can go through some automated online test. If they pass that test, they can receive a verifiable credential that attests to their quality. And by having that verifiable credential, or by requiring that verifiable credential in order to then provide their reviews on the work that's been done by other members of the community, A, you remove the possibility that bots are providing reviews, and B, you improve the overall standards of the reviews that are being completed, which is to the overall benefit of the DAO. And another example, perhaps easier and quicker to get to the understanding of it is who decides decisions relating to the treasury.
Yes,
really difficult one, and it's fairly straightforward. I'm not going to say it's too straightforward, but it's fairly straightforward to resolve the permissioning, the provisioning of treasury voting rights to people with verifiable credentials, but then also to request that those that decisions are made, for example, in a way that is transparent and open to the network. So there's all of these different options. There's also, for that's kind of, if it's possible to say, the internal DAO governance and identity and access management. There's also the management of the assets that people who are serviced by the DAO have. So let's say that there are NFTs being produced that relate to the DAO, or there are avatars used by members of the DAO, or handles that are used by members of the DAO. All of these things can be provisioned and verified using verifiable credentials. And what it does is it bakes the trust layer into every interaction that both senior, junior, external participants, people who are consuming DAO services, it puts trust at the heart of all of those interactions.
Okay, two quick questions. Let's try to simplify that for, let's say, our viewers to somehow, let's say, to explain everything just described better. It's first of all, is it possible to jump in? Do you have any sort of DAO we could, let's say, just to be part of and try to understand how your solution is working inside maybe some Cardano projects or whatever? Which one you're interacting with, because it's very important for us, just for anybody who's listening right now, to all of the beautiful concepts, to actually to touch, to understand what's going on personally, have that first-hand experience.
So we're doing a lot of work with the Catalyst community at the moment, and the Catalyst community is one of the biggest innovation funds in the world. It's funded to the tune of somewhere between 60 and 65 million USD in ADA for the last 2 years. I think there's been around 1 million votes that have taken place in that community to award funding to projects. So this is a big community, and they are making very strong efforts towards decentralization. If you participate in that community, then eventually you'll be compelled to become a proposal assessor. And as a proposal assessor in the Catalyst community, what we'll soon be implementing with them is the process whereby you receive a verifiable credential to attest to the quality of your reviews, as I was saying. If there are various other parts of the Catalyst community where you might come across the Proofspace solutions as part of a kind of verifiable credential workflow. It might be, for example, if you join the self-sovereign identity community within Catalyst, then there is a training program for people who want to learn more about SSI and implement the Cardano product, which is a Tala Prism. There you'll probably come across our credentials to say, for example, to get from the first course to the second course, you have to already have the credential to prove that you passed the first course.
Got it.
So the whole experience of the learning experience as you go through the Pioneers course will be linked to you having those verifiable credentials. And that's a great example of how you see a DAO actually moving from these more kind of federated and centralized models to being truly decentralized.
Okay, we will add that link in the description down below. It's just important for our audience to, let's say, to have ability to let's say actually touch that solution. And also, do you have some sort of YouTube demo videos or something like that? Maybe just to include that in the comments or include that in the description, just to, let's say, understand the user experience, because the user experience is a king. And before making any decisions, before as a Elmas land or as a representative of a couple of neobanks, I need to let's say discuss with my team and show them that user experience, and we need to, let's say, understand, is it ready for the market? Is it ready for be part of our customer acquisition model? Is it what's your user experience? So that's the question. Do you have a demo video?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, user experience is one of the key drivers behind all of the decisions that we've made about self-sovereign identity. And so, yes, you can actually experience it, on your Android or iOS via the Proofspace app if you want to. There's demo flows there that you can jump into, or you can go to the YouTube account, which I've shared on our channel.
Okay. I will put that links right now in our live chat. So if anybody willing to, let's say, to know more about the project, they could, let's say, jump in and touch everything we just discussed. But also we will add that to the description down below. So the people who is watching us in a recording will also have an opportunity to, let's say, understand more and to use that understanding to become your clients, because it feels like I do realize what you are doing, guys. I do realize that you significantly simplify the global, let's say, the global penetration for neobanks. So the small neobank could, let's say, become a part of different jurisdictions and apply different, let's say, guidelines with your help, without putting a lot of effort integrating different type of KYC providers and etc. So I do realize that you could help significantly to, let's say, to grow for the neobanks. I will definitely navigate some of my colleagues and my friends and my partners to your solution, just to help them simplify that experience. I hope you will grow significantly. I hope you will be bigger than Fido or Verif, because you definitely should be with that mindset and that approach. It's actually honor for me to be with you today, and I'm ready to evaluate the ability to integrate your solution in our DAO in Elmas land. So I just like our discussion. It was very, very interesting.
Thank you
so much.
very much. It's been a fantastic discussion. And thank you to everyone out there in the YouTube universe for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. Bye.